Hello, there are people from my town who've been stealing my identity that I never had a class with, never had anything to do with. And they also have a pattern of being extended family members and tied to extended family members of a Ray Colello who came into my grade in fourth grade. I never had a grammar school class with him, never had a class with him. I had one class, a math class in high school. I had a summer class, a summer school class that was involved. I would they put me in that class with him tied to a Joe DeMoro. They put in that class and Heather Hansen, and they were involved with a sexual circle. Like they put me near those people. They made confessions, and that's with the officer Jerry Miller, who made confessions about a Kerr family, also recorded confessed crimes with the Phil Colello and the Mendez brothers, who I never had class with, recorded and confessed crimes with drugs and clicks and with drug and with violence crime acts of others with involved with identity thefts. And see, they use the behavior crimes of complete strangers I don't even know the names of with the violence crime acts, and to pretend they knew me in locations before that. Pretend there was even a reason for a difference before that. In other words, I never had words with these people, like a Bayrock. That's also the name of a company associated with the sensibilities of the president. They did that criminally. Use a street name with that sign near one of the elderly homes involved with the child sex offenders. Further recorded and confessed tied to the extended family members. All these names with a Phil Collo, like tied to Scoloras. See, these are people that sustained pretending behind my back lies to me and to others. That pretended they knew that I had word conversations with them. I was in locations with them, sequence relationships to them that never were. These are people with sequence shift crime acts and cases. Now, this is why it's important to understand originally and still how the branches were left by our founders, criminally foreign influence distinctly and non-distinctly, with areas distinctly and non-distinctly per the same organized crime method. Now, what's that mean? What's that? Why is that significant? Because now they have to hide lie progressions and their motivations to it distinctly and non-distinctly. This is why it's important to understand how everyone was facilitated to crime roles with a crime that no one realized was going on, because that was being used as like the seed of the engineering, the edifice of the breaching organized crime method that used color and the fact treatment nature slavery of our founders. That what our American history is really about, an organized crime method that had them with no free speech, a method that is our needs to understand because of how it was using natures of criminal insidiousness as victims, but as victim predators, like these overt criminal enterprises are recorded, facilitated by this, recorded with lawyers trained through to defend types of laws, types of evaluation of the integrity of the sciences, which are sciences as fact treatment nature trick in relationship to forced needed jobs, value nature system other than science's actual fact treatment nature quality and obligations as science, and with sequence true, especially. So there's an officer Miller who recently recorded and confessed that he and others with the Kerr family have further crimes, also recorded and confessed by others involved with this Scalora family and with Phil Clow further with the kids, and WFSB is further with police forums, private with them and with their various natures of crime acts and fake news. Identity thefts no attach me to conversations that never were at all, attaching other people to their pretended belief perceptions, which are convictions with delusions and as crime acts with federal criminals against plaintiffs against them in cases they won, in cases that were ongoing, like at the time of my trainer's death, my father, too. And with you criminal uses of my school for extortion, which is 10 years in jail. I wouldn't wish to sign anybody, but these are people recorded as predators that are crime rolls with what is keeping streams in courts each day. Many pray. They're using these are database crime rolls through time with each of the campuses I went to, attaching me to fake conversations, fake relationships to others. There's a Washington D.C. with a bunch of brothers, a sister, and a mother of and an extended family of Chris Walters with interbranch police forms, foreign and domestic military police forms, and families criminally involved on off CCSU and other campuses with the same facilitated to it. See, this is per crimes now that are all victim predators because the same way they were originally maintained in each branch individually, together, and grouped and together, forging names, switching sequences. These are actors with crime acts with campuses, including predicate acts. And then as interstate states and recorded how maintained criminally foreign influenced crime actors, like a Scalora family. All these families with connect facilitations to it as their ties to my area through the one house associated with a longtime police chief and his family, immediate and extended family. Also with a bunch of the extended families with the Colello house, associated with other families, in the area next to foreign and domestic. So they were keeping the sensibilities of each area because these were also facilitated crime rolls on off CCSU and on off Trinity College. Facilitated because they were raised as victim predators too, because also an O'Brien family were recorded and confessed with a Sanfaglione family that they're further involved with crime acts rolls leading up to with police forms leading up to a 2006 case, which I've been trying to report since before the Trade Center attack, and my whole life, distinctly and non-distinctly, in a straight line of recorded database illusion stacking. A bunch of girls with the name Alicia, like a half a dozen of them. I don't know. One of them, a couple of them, the exceptions. So they make people come up and make confessions and demonstrations. There's also how they have people speaking through others because of their recorded criminal uses, or criminal natures and methods and uses of that, per what maintains the branches individually together in groups, criminally foreign influence lie progressions, standing lie progression cover up natures of styles, needing to hurt correlation natures, Trinity, which is three natures of volume, inherent, active, and progressive, and the value of that in relationship to a complete identity. See, Allah's name is used to teach this. They have psychology with nations individually grouped and together criminally foreign influenced with interbranch fact treatment nature rackets, trick fact treatment natures, evidence fabrication natures, sequence shifting natures. In other words, these are actors also further recorded and confessed and demonstrated further involved with Trade Center attack context crimes leading up to it in the context and since, with a proven sequence shifting post-dated documents that have been hand delivered by my trainer, my father, in the Ninth Circuit, time stamped on time. And then we went to the Trade Center attack context for a panel of judges that saw it and ruled that it was filed late. That was proven after that had been post-dated to appear late from inside the court. That proven led to a 2006 case in Connecticut District Court. And this is with defendant, former director of the FBI. His co-defendants and his lawyer, but his co-defendants like a Thaddeus Grabowski and like one associated with a different one associated with one's also a daughter of a Charlie LeConte, who's one of the co-defendants of the former director of the FBI. Also, I forgot the other guy's name, associated with also with Eric Jensen, though, in a Dearborn Street in Newington, recorded and confessed involved with the people with intercity, interbranch fake news crime max clicks with private police of the media and with something tied to the buildings of Hartford with interbranch families involved with identity theft clicks. Rick Champagne and others were given drugs and stuff like that and allowed to and coerced to identity theft crime max rules, sequence shift crime max rules. I never had anything to do with him the entire time he was in high school. I mentioned like a couple times, you know, the first time I met him, he punched me right when I was coming around a corner. No, and I forgot about that right away. You know what I mean? Because we wasn't in my class then. So, but there was someone trying to start a fight with me, and they were using corners when I come into schools too. And they used that person with a Bayrock associated with a databases crimes with the name of a Phil Club before I even knew what he looked like. Which is one of the cousins of my neighbor. See, they used to hang around with people in my grade and with his cousins. I never hung around with them, but they in other words, he's my neighbor though, and there of course there was exception. I'm not saying I'm not trying to lie and say I never. No, we went skiing. On personally, we went on those trips and stuff like that. Well, you're around kids. You know what I'm saying? See, but these are people with strangers that are now with like a Joshua Julian. I had never anything to do with the Joshua Julian. He's recorded and confessed with crimes with them with overt criminal enterprises. And most of these crimes are fact cheaping nature crimes, sequence shifts, predicate acts like mail crimes, and then lies using that, torturing, extortion, in other words, pretending other. So preventing me from doing business because of the criminal uses of what's his name? Each boxing gym from Connecticut CCSU crime acts rolls with intercity police forms, foreign and domestic sharing sick Justice Department rackets with Washington D.C. Trade Center tied to a Pandolf family, intercities with junkyards associated with this Fianza family confession. They put confessions from strangers, and then those people go out of their way fighting to pretend they know you. As extortion rules, these are all also people recorded confessed crimes facilitated with a Dillon family, and with their crimes with the corner of where the Samuel Dix house is, which is associated with the organized crime method that used databases originally. There are agencies, and that each modern nation's agencies and branches individually grouped and together, not by accident, failed to counter, to teach about, and worse, because then what are they teaching? Physical delusions categorically maintained, criminally foreign influenced, hurt, forced only let realized, only let heard, ill experts, uses of experts who, good. Everyone's a good person. This is about how our nature was fit to roles with things unfathomable, like slavery, like these extortion. I read in the news that was a camera in the women's bathroom at police headquarters. I don't know. I didn't. I hear that, but there is a officer online on Facebook. They've been using Facebook for sexual harassment of the youngest girls, for sustained, and per women rolls with it, with sensibilities, teaching them, to pretend they're pretending passions as fake justice, as vile justice consciously, and as fake care simultaneously. Then they're pretending to be upset about things. There was WFSB with a report tonight that there was a woman who was scared, implying about my post. Now, these are people that recorded they forced a principal sex offender with the same campus that still has more. Yeah, WFSB is recording confess. They stole my identity, won't let me. At the same time with the courts, didn't let me speak, and they forced the principal sex offender not to say anything. They're torturing him not to say anything about worse. He tried to that is recorded, and he tried to confess with the same school. There's a Phil Colello. There are two Mendez police. This is also tied to these are victim predators since they were kids. These are also people of federal crimes with defendant, former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, as a defendant, criminally using, facilitated the criminal uses of at least of on-off CCSU, various natures of crime acts with databases, verbal, federal crimes, extortion acts. Googled December 14th, an investigation underway in a woman's locker room. There was a woman on WFSB tonight, which is the 20th, and she was complaining about posts on Facebook page. Now that they're using that lady and she said her kids stayed home, and they stepped up police around the school. See, that police around the school is being used for sensibilities that are being used to sexually abuse little girls. They're not. They're with the police chiefs coaching it, because he has his daughter and has her extended family and her former boyfriends. One, as the oh no, that's the other one. That's the other one with the school too, which is the former principal's daughter there. See, these are all victims that were that through time that are maintained victim predator. They're making me talk about strangers that aren't going to want that. They're going to start saying bad things about me, and they use that as a trick factory of nature. See, I'm asking them to report the child sex crime acts online, and then in cases they hid this with crime acts in cases. They're using the databases of courts to stack illusions, identity thefts, tax people to fake locations, attach people to fake sequence, fake relationships to others through time, and then they're exploiting that criminally through time. This is Washington D.C. Trade Center facilitated crime acts rolls with clicks around campuses too, around the high school further, with the Yagman family further criminally involved, with the Joshua Julian. In the corner of the Samuel Dix house, the database relationship to the fact, treatment, nature, slavery of our founders. If anyone was found out to be talking about building houses and infrastructure outside of internation monitored internation, wasn't English. England was the face of here, and that's forced only let really what I was told is a truth with lies attached to it. The face of each nation, England, France, they were forced to be suit and tie nations, counters, not understanding, forced to be individually grouped and together sick. We're in a semi-ancient trap. The devil's about an organized crime, not a ghost. It's about criminal reengineering of the campus Marcias. So now you have criminal reengineered human fact treatment nature. English was revealed by a nature of sciences that was valuing how we are a species, nature of volume. Each person is bonded inseparably as a group force. You're one sex or the other. You're grouped. You're individual. And you're a species, nature of volume bonded to us too at the same time. This is the Trinity demonstration to us. Further, of the Trinity's identity of relationship to itself and the value of that, which is alone only allowed to be positive or negative in relationship to the identity of perfect value progression. So science has the obligation to discern this identity of value to treat it. This is the identity that makes inventions work or not in relationship to it. This is the identity that makes inventions further positive or negative or not in relationship to it. Because this trinity, this identity of value progression will only stay perfectly positive onto itself. So that causes force space nature transfer when we entertain value nature systems that are devaluing individual, not just rights, but individual nature of value, grouped body of value discernment. We have sexes manifest in demonstration of this, how we are expanding nature of volume and its identity of relationship to itself that is beyond our control. No matter who we are, the identity of positive, we want clean water, we want air. It's nature in range we can't go out of. Even with the range we have control over, and that's to see what causes positive value nature progressions and evolutions, fruits and gifts as our nature as value, as nature as a nature of volume as value fills. That's what the Santa Claus is about too. But to fix this, because this is about what Allah is about. Identity of relationship per science. This is not asking faith. This is what the beginning of the Old Testament is about. Per science is not asking faith. The Old Testament and the Quran are being valued out of sequence as negative value nature. That's only let heard be their voice. The surface value of the Constitution is supposed to be freedom of religion. We don't have that. We have other pretended because we have states and areas pretending that they're for religion so they don't realize. But they have it entrenched where it's not supposed to be entrenched with states and areas. Individuals' value is supposed to be. My free speech is being stole by WFSB. They're doing way worse than taking pictures of girls of each age. They're hurting. And these are people facilitated to crimes, criminal uses of the sensibilities with each nature of everything, like elderly homes. These are not our means naturally. These are opinion natures where everyone's talking about reality the way they were doing it when they had slavery. As a quality of fact treatment nature inside an organized crime method that no one had free speech and or an education that wasn't criminally foreign influenced that would let them be capable of countering it. So our obligations are most dire to counter the thefts of our free speech and the sensibilities. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a police force, I'm not a criminal. Criminal insidiousness nature. Criminal insidiousness is demonstrably in nature. And this is a nature that the news people are because they were used criminally already per their directed treatments of fact treatments. And that's with them used simultaneously, distinctly, and understood with the same way. The branches need to hide how they're coming to their lies distinctly and non-distinctly, with all them being, with everyone being used by them. At the same time, how the identity of the grounds relationship to our body of value, fact, treatment, nature, discernments is state criminally foreign influenced. That that was it. That guy was recorded. He's being tortured not to say anything about worse than that. Recorded with his school still, and then they arrested me without letting me speak and attaching me to fake words, fake recorded things. and fake relationships to others. They told fake news crime acts stole my identity at the same time, not just WFSB. And they had crime acts roles before that leading up to it with their investigators, with their interbranch sources. Fake news crime acts, natures of crime acts, offensively stacked with while they were extorting me, not letting me speak. Already, these because they're crimes also with various federal criminals as the co-defendants of, as the family of the co-defendants of former director of the FBI, leading up to a 2006 case tied to a 9/11 attack context, Ninth Circuit, proven afterwards, post-dated from inside that to appear late before, to the judges right before the attack. The night before, and leading up to that, interstate, a number of people that had criminally involved, like a Scalora family, also recorded and confessed further involved with houses near that principal sex offender school or whatever it is, walking around with a camera. That guy, there was sex crime acts and threats on the kids that they hid from the parents because they're coaching the parents with the sensibility. They have people pretending to be afraid and or real because they're all, they're being coached by, there are two Mendez police also. I never had a class with them, never was in locations with them. They're recorded and confessed involved with crimes interbranch with police before them too. Interbranch, forging names, switching names. One police, they made confessions about the police chief involved. He's got a Dillon family with his with houses in my area involved with them with untimely deaths that brought up the child offenders. Why I called the school. Then now there's a recent threats online regarding the school with an officer Jerry Miller, and there's a bunch of Jerry Kerrs and Michael Kerr, and I don't know his mother's name, and police forms associated with insurance companies. See, they're using insensibilities of people that they use criminally through time. These are foreign and domestic military too. Reportedly, one dishonorably discharged. The Kerr one, a degenerate criminal, anyway, recorded, involved with the rest of the child offenders, per them online, and per their roles with crime acts at every campus I went to, stacking fake ties to others in databases, using crime methods where they prevent people a means to ground counters to off campuses maintain influence criminally foreign influenced database solution stacking identity thefts that are being criminally used with the sensibility, because now I have to speak about people that they involve with that and they don't know why I'm talking about them. I don't have anything to do with them. And they need it because they invested people to narratives and roles in databases through time that invest police forms needed to pretend they have the right to lie for what they don't originally instill, but they just keep it. The same, that's why they had roles and motivations for roles with slavery. Everyone's a victim predator, knave, tortured. That's why torture is that's why psychology is also, there's a Leahy family, other people with Hartford Hospital, other area hospitals, recorded with drug crime roles, with all the people with the campuses, various natures of crimes with like bug spray, criminal uses of the sensibilities of science guys, per their roles with DACA, per their roles with nurses, all the departments of real health and real medicine when they have this used for identity thefts, forging names of doctors, switching names, because they can force people to have to use their mouths. I refuse to go to town. Well, the town line mobile is a Kerr family and a DeMoro family and a Colello family recorded, confessed, and demonstrated that a town line mobile was involved with their roles with sequence shifts related to how The branches are recorded, confessed, and demonstrated criminally foreign influenced individually, together, and grouped, distinctly and non-distinctly per their. So how they have to lie about how they come to their mistakes and fabrications and crime acts and roles, and distinctly and non-distinctly at the same time with everyone from the areas like them, which is also them recorded and confessed and involved crimes with overt criminal enterprises in the area, and with police forms associated with the witness protection program used criminally with them in the area. They're also pretending wire crime roles, pretending they recorded me with a drone growing pot on my porch. And also as the ones involved with the further force sustained juxtaposed natures of abuses of girls and of boys, each age of campus. Because this is also in relationship to how they have policing of many that was criminally foreign influence used the roles. These are also roles, crimes with the forensics, state police associated with this Phil Colello, and with the transition from ACA to RICO, Organized Crime Control Act, to RICO, Racketeering, Influence, and Corrupt Organization Act. Robert Luskin used to be the standing chairperson on that, former director of the FBI. Defendant in a case in 2006 with these families criminally involved with them leading up to it, like an O'Brien family, and with as recorded, confessed, and demonstrated crime roles with facilitated with Russian families also with them with predicate acts. Their roles with predicate acts with databases, with a Leahy family, forging names, switching names, with others, with a Lombardo family, other families in my area used by them criminally, with what they can't pretend, but they're pretending on paper because they don't let responses. The court, the court has three female judges, I think, a black one and a white one too, recorded crimes with child offenders that are KKK themed and Confederate flag themed and military police predicate acts roles with foreign military like Kuwait associated with sexual circles, associated also with inter-religious spots facilitated the crimes with deans as victims, but as victim predators, as identity theft crime roles. As sensibilities, they're only letting relationships be realized between each age. Tony Smith reported November 29th, CCSU in Britain announced changes to its phone police department in the wake of the complaints. Female officer came forward with complaints of fraternity-like environment. CCSU has recorded and confessed involved with interstate crimes with the Justice Department, with Washington Trade Center tied intercampuses, intercity. Their crimes with further child offenders, with the campus with the campus of with worse child offenders than the principal. That they're recorded torturing to say nothing because of his doctor's recorded predicate acts, physical delusions, recorded. Evidence crimes with various natures of courts. These are people with crime acts with Sandy Hook database with kids, child predators, medical, interbranch associated with them. Recorded delusions raw. And then that in front as the intercity families associated with this campus and with the other campuses with the further child offenders recorded. See, these are how they were invested everyone to roles per method here and there. This is keeping each modern nation only like capable of blaming the real and valuing having had been blamed already, the real causes of negative value, nature, progressions, acts, and natures blamed on other things, not others, not selves. Acts like predicate acts, natures like criminal insidiousness natures, wrongdoers. These are organized crime terms. See, I'm not a lawyer, not a police form, but these are recorded crime acts and crime methods that I recorded a means to demonstrate per the unfortunate but valuable impositions of having been able to, because these are the people with the trade center attack crime roles, crimes with Kuwaiti victim predators too. But then what happened with that? Led to the Iraq War with Kuwait. Narratives of them reportedly drilling laterally into Iraq, all that. But that's where they have a shared criminal justice system where nations are grouped, forced not to talk about how they share policing. They have shared policing of stores in Rocky Hill and Wethersfield, associated with a Kerr family, the Morrow family, crimes with the child offenders with the courts. See, we have women judges and women with courts forging names, switching names, crime rolls, fake arresting officers, identity theft crime acts, extortion. Those are 10-year crimes in prison. These are people who are going to hurt you, judges, not because they're trying to keep people safe. These are victim predators the same way they were maintained it, motivated as those natures originally instilled. Our founding fathers wanted and needed us to sacrifice for this, for equality of fact, treatment, nature, law, free speech, timely free speech. Because then, if you're trying to pretend you're above free speech and you're sequence shifting like WFSB, way worse than sequence shifting. They're being told to pretend that because advertisers don't like how they have crimes, that they're supposed to hide it. Of course, they're not going to like crimes. They have crimes with the ad companies too. Time and time placement with a Fianza family, with a Aiello family, with the child offenders further, with the police, interbranch, intercities, interstates maintained, worse than interstates maintained. This outcome. WFSB board. Before WFSB reported that in 2006, they were already recorded and confessed crimes with worse criminals at that principal's school. Then and now, still recorded. Phil Colello, who I never had anything to do with, he was tied to database solution stacking, identity theft crime roles, attacking with people that were attached to me to fake locations, fake sequence natures of relationships to people I barely know, and only in context they can't talk about honestly, and complete strangers like a Joshua Julian, with the rest of them involved, recorded and confessed involved crimes with online police. See, this is all recorded, but we have the online police crimes with the courts, criminally foreign influence with a bunch of nations, the same way they were pretending that they didn't understand, everyone blaming it on England, when the face of that here was what is extorting them here and everyone here. I mean, in other words, there were forced to be roles. It's like calling England, it's like calling the Uncle Tom like he's not a slave too. You know what I'm saying? Our founders didn't have free speech. Our history is about that. Our history is about how they were forced to be, how they handed the Declaration of Independence to be defended as criminal and seriousness nature for us to demonstrate. It's fake care for our founders. They're stealing our founders' identities, the value of our history, of each science. They're stealing how to think. This is how to think. Is three natures of volume, is the Trinity, and is an increasing nature of volume, which is increasing positive or negative as a quality of diffusion in relationship to the identity that makes inventions work or not. See, that's why they have verbal federal crime methods, roles that they already been using. That was their motivations for collusion with psychology, with nations individually grouped it together with ISIS. where they pretend to be against they're keeping religious spots recorded criminally used. Sensibility natures incapable of defending themselves with their convictions and evaluations of the identities of laws worth and these religions are about in the first place, which is organized crime, which is about criminal insidiousness nature, which is about criminally engineered campuses, fact sciences, human fact treatment nature, defenses of that, of convictions, with opinions that are incapable of defending themselves and of us at the same time, through generations, stealing the identities of who tries to demonstrate that. Per media recorded, maintained, evaluating, hiding, preventing mandated law, pretending that they have the right to because their viewers don't like them committing crimes. You don't hide that from the things because they have the ad companies. They have all natures of lies because they have types of lawyers directed to separate things. And this is a crime method, a breaching organized crime method that bonds the natures of crimes and roles as identity of the relationship of the ground to each age of fact treatment nature, a victim from off campuses maintain, on and off campuses sustain crimes. Now, this is going to hurt everyone the same way it does through generations, preventing correlation nature's free speech, preventing, that's why we have Hartford, Connecticut. George Washington had to leave in Wethersfield, Hartford, avert slavery right before the last battle of the Revolutionary War. That to his slavery too, with Hartford and Wethersfield, even with the French general's help. He had to leave it here to get the help to end right before the last battle of the Revolutionary War, which is a war, not a revolution. We didn't win the revolution. We don't even have our free speech yet. We don't have freedom of religion yet. We have forced physical delusions and mass criminality with psychology, intersciences, intercampuses, interbranch. WFSB reported that the police arrested the principal of Omaha and Hartford found. Okay. I don't know anything about that thing, Tony Smith. I know there were a bunch of people with the name Smith recorded and confessed involved with the child offenders in my area, facilitated to it as victims for the interbranch predators, foreign and domestic, maintaining this outcome also with DACA and per what was since before DACA. This is a crime method that keeps each modern nation blaming others and blaming themselves, and invested already having had that value. And only, each age of fact treatment nature is told to rely on experts that are being criminally used by what has them defend fact treatments as trained to spots. This is again what bonded a whole bunch of crime methods and natures and roles. And then to keep each database lie progressions from that spot, to keep lie progression cover up natures as the styles of conviction natures, like with treatments of color. Even now, they never defended us. Organized crime countering bodies, each modern nations. We have recorded criminally foreign influence zoning laws and pathology of tactically denatured relationship to nature, forced with the fact treatment nature slavery of our founders, forced methodically, criminally not led told, per sequence shifts, treatments of that, and with convictions and passions fake with treatments of color. If they really cared about color, then you would juxtapose the whole complete organized crime method and demonstrate how it was a force sustained extortion, torture, tactical pseudo education, uses of that. each branch criminally foreign influence individually grouped together, all private tied to the criminally foreign influence. Santa Claus, St. Nicholas, he's about how he was put in prison by these criminal branches, all private tied to them, intercampuses, from off campus, from off campuses before there were campuses. It was consciously to take the ground of education. They're consciously keeping each age of fact sheet in nature, either a job as a liar, as a police that's valuing it, left criminally foreign influence grouped individually and together, and told not to speak about that. That's the Constitution abridged. That's what our founders wanted us to sacrifice to counter to free speech. We have free speech prevented by WFSB, recorded and confessed by Tony Smith, involved with coaching, using online platforms, using the media, the networks, and using databases, their identity theft crime acts, their sequence shifts to sustain crime acts and methods not let told on. They're recorded consciously, criminally, pretending they don't realize that police and that courts aren't allowed to take part with such. They know these are sick people. Interbranch, originally and still. Intercampuses, crime acts tied. They have the crime act, their motivations for that, because they knew I need to tell on this here, because they attached me to fake people and fake sequence ships, relationships, intercity, but usually because I was living in different cities, but going to school when I was living next to when I already graduated from, I was going to Trinity. See, from off campuses, they're maintaining the campuses used as tools for a crime method that stays off campuses, stayed on off campuses, crime rules, and then on and off campuses again, originally and still. This is what religion fail, betrayal tribes. One way provides. So WFSB is reporting things they're coaching parents and sensibilities to roles with them. As insidious natures, as criminal insidiousness natures tied to predicate acts like wire crimes, mail crimes, wire crime methods, mail crime methods, uses of that, criminal uses of the identity of the ground, bonded relationship to body of value, discernment's value, which is real. The identity of Allah is the identity of relationship to itself. Don't have to agree about the name. It causes evolution, it causes inventions to work or not in relationship to this identity as a relationship to itself. The nature of the law is identity of relationship to itself. This is why St. Nicholas was asked by the church after he got out of prison. They put him in with lies, as they do each day, and valued that already. Here, still, they asked him to come help them figure out how to defend their positions on the nature of the law. In other words, how are they going to defend? How are they going to answer questions about about the nature of the law when states and areas are criminally foreign influenced, branches individually, together grouped? So how they're coming to fact treatment lies and lie styles, and have everyone with the area, and then foreign police and overt criminal enterprises, not by accident, them all needing to share to hide the same finite, active body of value lies, progressive lies, identity theft lies, sequence shift lies, and simultaneous lies, and valuing that. Only Allah will only state complete nature. This is science. This is science. I'm not asking faith in anything. And all the religions are being defended with physical delusions, with criminally foreign influenced, hurt victim predator reactions, conviction nature, quality of fact treatment nature, because the campuses, each of the sciences were maintained victim predator theater takes on sciences and criminal uses of that, where our fact treatment nature can't help but be in a system that the perfect value progression nature forces. That's bonded onto to and as the obligations by our fact treatment nature that markets positions are value nature systems tactically ulterior from, specifically for this, as a tool, as a breaching organized crime method tool. See, Racketeering Influence and Corrupt Organization Act is a RICO statute regarding organized crime, regarding crimes like this facilitated by criminal enterprises. Like these are actors with crimes interstate now, with the Trade Center attack context, with the crimes intercampuses in Connecticut. These are also with their crimes foreign and domestic. They also attached me to fake conversations with them about Saudi Arabia, as the people involved with the crimes with uses of Saudi families for their narratives with individual grouped and together nations crime rolls already through time, through things like DACA that were tools for what was this entrenched breaching method since before that, involved with intersciences, each age of fact treatment nature and job, identity of value, a value progression, maintain criminally foreign influences, lie progression, cover up natures, lie progressions from each spot standing formal. They can't follow the law now. If you mention FBI, people get scared because they don't understand things. But either that or they go forward, charged, um, convictions with physical delusions. We're speaking about things that I don't know. They say, how do you know about things? I sat in a 2006 case with defendant, former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, in a part of a case /S that was still going on at my father's death. And that was already, they were involved with a pattern of of preventing me from reporting things. And by pretending they didn't realize criminally in the background. These are tied to their confessions, criminal uses of a deposition, criminal uses of Hartford courts, of people that I was trying to report their confessions tied to. That's also tied to Officer Hunter years after that. Years after that. See, they're sequence shifting, and that Hunter is also tied to crimes with a locations associated with a Mayano family with the fake news crime acts of the court. Interbranch people told the news to say lies, to pretend I had relationships to doctors and to mental diagnosis as a kid that weren't at all. These are people that are forged names of doctors and pretend I had mental diagnosis as an adult that weren't at all. All kinds of medical corruption recorded involved. The only reason I know this, to put it Obama, my father went high the legal route. Years and years of litigation. One NLRB case was going on with the pro se civil RICO case, Racketeering Influence Criminal Organization Act. These are also people involved with the child defenders with crimes with the transition from ACA to RICO, and with their crimes with this Joshua Julian, with that, and with criminal uses of the deposition. In the deposition leading up to the 2006 case with the former director of the FBI, no, they're involved with sequence shifts that reveal criminal uses of Mueller and Comey, but no one knows that because no one's following free speech. No one's permitting it. And WFSB, Fox CT, WTNH, the recorded identity theft crime rolls. Crime acts and cases also then, and with areas for illusion, these are all illusions that are criminal, with them with the FBI, with them with CIA, recorded. This Leahy family forged names of doctors, pretending to be conversations with them, with various natures of courts criminally involved with them, with their drug cliques, with child sex offenders tied to them, proven and facilitated tied to them, and further recorded. See, it's why it's important to understand the word facilitation. I mean, how that is being exploited, how the branches are going to lie about how their offensive evidence fabrication natures, distinctly and non-distinctly, and how everyone else in the area is needing to hide the same sequence shifts and styles by valuing the same quality of fact cheap nature only let realized manifest, so that would be maintained. Everyone blaming the real causes of negative value nature, progression, acts of nature, others, and things and self. Look at Hartford, Connecticut. We have people stacking. Those are not means. This is before cars. The Webb Stevens house, where George Washington had to leave in Wethersfield. You know, they had they could, with the French general, they could only semi-counter extort. We had overt slavery in the north here. Left. And that's what helped us win the last battle of the Revolutionary War, just to become one of those knave nations, still criminally foreign influenced, rolls with slavery in the first place, of the slavery of our founders. Just because they stuck forward. See, we don't have that understood what we actually have recorded. They didn't have free speech. They had to hide their roles with the Constitutional Convention. They have that theater that had to pretend other value, forced, pretended, offensive, fake passion cared for, so they can pretend not to realize they're obfuscating our correlation nature's needs. That's as for sequence nature is the value of simultaneous nature. Why is it so important to value how the value of the past doesn't go away? The wrongs on Native Americans made American citizens anyways. Their rights are the extent of ours. The extent their rights are left tactically denatured relationship to nature and means to it, nature will continue to demonstrate negative value nature regressions, acts, and natures, like predicate acts, like criminal insidiousness natures. Predicate acts are like extortion crime acts, mail crime acts, which we have recorded here. And these are actors with the sequence shift inside the Ninth Circuit Trade Center attack context. Crimes interstate, intercampuses, and with Wethersfield police, the ones involved with the child defenders, crimes with a Scalora family, and with the DeMoro family, and with the Scalora family is recorded and confessed, or crimes with and as relative. They were confessed relatives of a DeMoro family and of a Colello family, but I never saw them in the same location at the same time. And I barely know that person. And these are people that are told when to act because they're knowing where everyone's going to be. They're using the systems, recorded the corners of the streets and stuff, like how different houses associated with placements around schools, recorded, connected, manifest, because they're recorded crime acts tied to those houses that with the identity thefts. And then recorded criminally preventing people from countering those identity theft crime acts. This Yagman family, this Joshua Julian with the crimes with the overt criminal enterprises. These are verbal crimes, but these are crimes also with physical predators on and off campuses, with the same campus that I went to when I was a kid. And their other natures of crimes are all juxtaposed and uses of them. And that's what brought up the campus, which brought up confessions that they're torturing the principal not to say about. You know, because his doctors recorded with physical delusions, with crime acts and sequence shifts, evidence crimes with a Phil Colello and with other two Mendez brother police, with other police that before them, and with that, forged names, switch names, crimes with that principal sex offenders camp or principal's campus. I say sex offender because they didn't let him tell on it, and or they whatever. That's what it was recorded They called my house before that, before a bunch of times after I tried to report the recorded message and post rape threats and ties to the school with that. Abuses of girls in the school, on off campuses with that. The youngest ones. And then they're forcing them because these are also rat mobs using their kids to spread lies about kids, about others like me. Like, because they have fake news crime acts with a Christine Bedard slash Stardet with the Britain Superior Court. Attach me to fake relationships to doctors when I was a kid. Now, fake nature of relationships to them. Sequence shift crime rolls with them. Crime rolls with them with the crime pattern from before the Trade Center attack context on off CCSU crime acts. Straight then all the way everywhere I went since with them preventing the same facilitated clicks with the interstate and foreign influences. Washington, Trade Center, maintain criminally foreign influence, crime rolls with overt criminal enterprises of various nations. And with the witness protection program, they used criminally in the area with this. Because then they have the sensibilities with everyone, they don't know what they're talking about. See, they're starting fights with me and strangers with the parents of the Weathersfield schools. As ones, they're also they're abusing the kids. They're going to hurt them on off campuses. The middle schools further recorded and confessed with further child offenders as men and women, foreign and domestic, medical families, military families, in collusion, policing of the stores in collusion. They have live progression, cover up natures and needs from all kinds of criminal uses of databases everywhere they are, criminal uses of campuses everywhere they are, criminal uses of everybody, everywhere everybody is. States and areas of modern nations are criminally foreign influenced and maintain this, specifically maintain live progression, cover up nature's acts and nature needs, sequence shifting nature needs, roles, physical delusions to all spots, value, styles of fact sheet that you can't defend that and ourselves at the same time from what exploits that, which is again an organized crime method that our history is really about. James Madison had to hide. He knew that they had the methods. If someone was found out, I learned this at CCSU in notes, so I can't cite a book. If they found out someone was met to discuss building infrastructure outside of internation monitored database relationships with those slavery laws, witch trial, crazy laws. If they found out even you were talking about building infrastructure, they would torture you and your whole family. Forget about it. No one would talk. They have the sensibilities defending pseudo positive, consciously knowing that our fact sheet nature is going to have nature increasingly and demonstrate our needs to speak about the identity of positive. See, both ratiocination and pseudo ratiocination simultaneously, they share an identity, this identity that makes inventions work or not. The sciences share this identity. The predicate of English is simultaneously, inherently, actively, and progressively identity's positive relationship to itself. The predicate act that's of English. At the same time, with the sciences share an identity, my lawyer, the predicate act of the law associated with organized crime, it's simultaneously, inherently, actively, and progressively negative value nature. Like organized crime groups caused extortion crime acts, mail crime acts, wire crime acts, I believe are also predicate acts. Murder, things like that facilitated. And then 3 predicate acts, I believe, what it takes to be a RICO case. See, I have rights to the Attorney General now. So WFSB is recorded, confessed, and demonstrated they're going to be in a lot of trouble now. They're already invested in a lot of trouble. because they've been extorting me, and worse, they've been torturing me, and worse, they've been stealing my identity, and worse, they've been preventing me from working, and worse, they've been crime rolls with thefts of my work, and they're making me beg. They're preventing people with integrity from reporting recorded abuses of people, and they're maintaining the outcome per their criminal uses of drugs with this Phil Colello clique and the Eric Mendez and the Janito Mendez as the police involved interbranch with the judges involved with them, with drug cliques, with with so we need to stay on pick any of the natures of crime acts. They won't pick a nature of crime because they're keeping everyone making opinions and valuing defenses of fact treatment nature that are not science. See, the sequence shifts are what I'm asking to report because they show them recorded, their natures recorded. They show criminal insidiousness nature recorded. Their mail crime acts, their wire crime acts, their wire crime methods recorded show criminal insidiousness nature. Their motivations to that were are with criminal uses of how they make all of a sudden you're listening to your phone when they first came out with wireless phones, and then you could hear someone down the street, like associated with a Oliveri family, associated with UPS crimes, recorded and confessed by them before I went to work there to check it out because that's tied to predicate acts on and off CCSU and Trinity College, involved with the interstates cliques, with the crimes in the trade center. Also, there's someone pretending to be or as an Eric Jensen, who's been with violence roles. And, we need to have them. These are with the child defenders, identity theft, crime acts roles, with the trade center federal criminals and federal criminals associated with leading up to and in the 2006 case with their defendant, former director of the FBI. Crimes also with the corner of Fox CT and of WFSB and on off locations with campuses like to Hartford, Connecticut, and to New Britain, where they have standing positions of people they use for crimes like, especially with medical corruption, with like triage corruption, because they're using databases with medical corruption in association with natures of courts that are using Washington Trade Center title areas shared agreements, left criminally foreign influence, sick natures of nations with psychology, where they use drugs to for all natures of crimes, because then they can pretend that they're forging names, switching names, and then they're pretending people have mental diagnoses. They're spreading rumors so they can prevent crime acts from being reported, so they can force people to sustain impositions, time impositions, quality of life impositions that they're either going to respond to and get hurt by all fake formal. They're adapting. This is we have to follow the rules in sequence. True, you have to follow right away when people mention crime acts with kids. Instead, they tell the parents to make things up. They tell parents they tell lies about me, forging names, switching names after they already did that before that. They know what brought that up to my awareness. They're child offenders with more campuses further. They know untimely deaths used criminally, crimes on off CCSU, on off Trinity College facilitated, as people with crimes with the people with the houses and locate and businesses near there. FC up, I don't know. FC. Hello, you guys. Darcy Henderson. How you doing? I don't know what FC stands for. So we're talking about all the fake news and the identity theft. So WFSB, Fox CT, WTNH, please fix your fake news crime acts. Also, a Delafera family is recorded, confessed, involved with the federal crimes with the children, with you guys, with the judges of various natures of courts, criminally involved with the kids through time. Also, further with the houses like the mentioned. So, you guys, what is it? Hour 9 minutes. I thank you for listening, and I hope you guys could force. You know, these are interbranch families, also with a Fianza family. Connecticut Lighting recorded and confessed involved with them criminally and with believe that's the right place. Hope it's the right place, but they said that their whole area is involved with them criminally. The Fianzas. They sought me out to make these confessions. These are people with crimes with a Dillon family, my new and past neighbors, and I don't know their names. So these are names. These are crimes where they have people's. You know, these are Dillon family with the child offenders further. Identity theft crime acts, predicate acts, crime rolls, crimes with confessions with abuses of and uses of houses in my area criminally, with their crimes with foreign and domestic criminals involved with the body dumping spot of Billy Grasso. Their crime rolls with criminal uses of the witness protection area program tied to the area directly and indirectly, and reportedly to Maine, per the people further involved with the child offenders and with other criminal enterprises recorded crime acts and natures used criminally. Natures as criminal and citizens natures, with the identity thefts too, and with police forms associated with them, which I believe there are people who use the name Joey Quest recorded and confessed with the crimes with the judges and with the prosecutors, with the identity theft crime acts, with crimes with interbranch families, with the spots at the end of the Berlin Turnpike, before the heart of Hartford. And this is off the road, that Two Rod Highway and Two Rod Highway and Hangdog Lane. Those are the houses, the roads on and off the Berlin Turnpike. Also criminally involved with the rest of the child offenders and the drug offenders and the predicate acts clicks with the crimes with this Dillon family and with them with other police forms in my area, foreign and domestic. And see, then they're stacking names of people I had nothing to do with in life. All exceptions are criminally exploited with the people I had completely nothing to do with, like this Joshua Julian, with crimes verbally, with federal overt criminal enterprises that were known through time, juxtaposed with our agencies, foreign and domestic. We have, to be put it Rumsfeldian, we have known and unknown criminal enterprises with our areas through time. They're recorded having been blamed on other causes and other things on cells, because they're recorded Fox CT crimes with Los Solitos with them. That's what I'm saying. Fox CT, don't stay predators. Just fix the news. Then I'll have to describe you like that. If you care about it, then give up. You know, follow the rules. Follow the rules. Respond for these Mendez brothers recorded with the crimes with the identity thefts. I never had a crime. I never was in a location with them. Make sure they didn't pretend I was in a location when they filmed things with the Yagman family in the past, because I was never in a location. I saw that video years afterwards, after he was in a video. They that they were he was reportedly involved with too. They broke a camera of mine. See, I wasn't there. So what wasn't, and these are also people, but see, that was also them recorded and confessed involved with crimes with the same grammar school with an O'Brien family, then and now, with crimes with interbranch families, confessions and demonstrations from when he was a kid, recorded involved with that. Identity theft crime act, all crimes with evidence reception, offensive criminally. Okay, so thank you for coming out tonight and force WFSB to respond. They have my post blocked because they're using Facebook for child offenses, for identity thefts. Fake news is stealing my identity. They're coaching and telling parents to pretend they're scared about things so they can lie about things. prevent things from being reported. Recently, Jerry Miller and other Jerry Kerrs and a Kerr family are further recorded and confessed involved with New Britain Superior Court, criminally involved with the principal's campus, with police that have sex crime acts and threats on that campus before he was arrested for a phone camera per people and per sex crime acts per the police on Facebook and messaged and post. So there was a Jerry Miller recorded involved with the people who were sustained, also a ERIC KNERR, with crimes with the Britain Superior Court's Facebook used for sex crime acts roles and uses of the campuses of the kids intercity. And then crime acts in cases that pretended they didn't realize that and had that demonstrated to them. These are crime acts roles recorded and confessed, forging names, switching names into branch. What happens when you switch names? You're preventing people a means to counter, more natures of crime than valued, pretended other. Tell mothers, sons, the value calm. See native drums. Tell campus fear. Campus Marcius needs the name back here. Thank you all for coming out tonight. Again, WFSB, Fox CT, WTNH. Let's go. Fix the fake news crime act. Stop lying to Weathersfield parents about me. Get this Phil Colello too. Make sure he's removed from the kids, and get this Dr. Graham and the judges recorded involved with her and other people recorded confessed involved with this Phil Colello and with the Christine criminally from the courts and from the schools, because they're also recorded database crimes since they were kids, crime tool rolls, and with worse natures of sick people. And I shouldn't have to stack all these names because they affected confessions and demonstrations and such to me through time as sequence shifts related to the John Mayano. I didn't know John Mayano until after the Ray Colello in my grade graduated. I had to stay back. Also recorded and confessed tied to the Dylan and to a police guy down the street who used two of those campuses. One teacher made confessions to us about her role with sex crimes with some kid who got arrested for it. And with her, she had a role with it though. And that was with the police forms with the new and past neighbors with real estate crimes, with the courts also involved criminally with this Dylan with a Lena's Pizza on Park Street, and with the various natures of criminal enterprises they've been using criminally for identity thefts, crimes with sequence shifts, and then needed illusions and behavior crimes and impressions that they pretend to believe. Offensive evidence reception crimes. See, when they use color, that was an offensive evidence reception crime. We're going to counter this. We're gonna deal with American history the way our founders wanted it to be dealt with. See, if George Washington, to tell us no lie, he chopped down fake branches, but he had to leave overt slavery in Connecticut, CT. Even if that's not decipher the cherry tree that he chopped down, but he cannot tell a lie. See, he didn't chop down the tree too, so that's a lie. He did, but that's not. That's the way he tells no lies, because he did he said he chopped down the tree, so he did. He told the truth, but at first he told a lie. But he chopped down the tree. It made us a nation too, but still is a sick nation, and still enslaved nation. So he didn't chop down the tree too. So that way he tells truth always. George Washington. This is also tied to at the end of the Brown Turnpike before the heart of Hartford. with the same child offenders with many people involved criminally with the Mendez brothers and with Phil Colello recorded crime rolls with those houses there, and with state police involved with them criminally. Offensive evidence reception crimes, doctors, foreign and domestic crimes with them, identity theft clicks. I also never had a conversation in my life with a Soto family recorded confessed involved with them, with the crimes of various natures of courts with kids. The police chief's pretending he thinks that kids should be charged harder because they're sick predators with Washington Trade Center clicks, with intercity campuses. The crime acts rolls with houses on Church Street, all the way from there to Main, from the to the corner of Church Street and Main Street, all the way there with businesses and houses from all the way over there to the straight up to the Samuel Dix house, straight up to CCSU/Paul Manafort Drive. Them crimes also with Russians, recorded, confessed to me and to others. Per their shared uses of shared policing, they're using databases personally, criminally, grouped criminally, grouped nations, sharing crime methods and natures that are manifest as styles of lying and natures of lying it and doing it and using it that are originally stayed off the records. The Native Americans missed this, is that really divided them from each other, divided colonists A through Z and tribes A through Z, blaming other things themselves for the real causes of negative value nature progressions, action natures, which was the organized crime method that each modern nation was fit as states and areas maintained criminally foreign influenced tools to keep them fighting to keep leaders forced knaves while they pretend to be about integrity. We have criminally foreign influence states and areas. They're preventing the president from free speech by forcing entertained quality of fact cheaping nature that nations grouped as fake sides are exploiting. That's what they did with their treatments of uh, extremism, with physical delusions, with all kinds of natures of crime methods and criminality, physical delusions, with psychology, with nations individually grouped and together. All kinds of natures of criminality with all tied to them. This infects the actual medicine, the actual nature of healthcare, because these are also roles with all kinds of natures of verbal federal crimes. It's a federal crime to lie, say that, you know, you know people, and then in context where they're trying to report things with crimes on kids. I couldn't believe when people would hear about child abuses and no one would let it told. It's unbelievable. I don't understand how it's motivated by them. They're kept as lie progression tools, as recorded. Not one reported true. See through, off here, till it's clear. Fake branches bend to bow, then fall right here. Build wall, prepare. For real. All please tell WFSB, Fox CT, Fox Connecticut News, WTNH, real fast. Fix your fake news crime acts and identity thefts of me and report on what you hid with that and what you stacked crime acts roles with. Now valuing, pretending, needing to pretend other. You're preventing mandated law then and now. You're recorded torturing then and now. You recorded sequence shift crime acts roles then and now. These were our recorded crimes with facilitated with interbranch overt criminal enterprises and intercampuses crime acts clicks associated with houses in my area first crime acts roles, and then in the trade center attack context. And then since with trade center attack predicate acts, a Leahy family attached me to fake conversations with them and about that. And they forged names, switched names of doctors like a Dr. Shamsi Ali, confessed and recorded. They did that. I had no conversation with them. Here, them here. Well, we're gonna make instant evolution this way. So thank you all this day. Thank you. Good night. and